Welcome to another episode here at the Masculine Health Solutions podcast. And today I will be talking to Daniel Gray about how he went about designing the hanger that he designed, the gains he's made with it, and also his routine. And another question that came up from the guys inquiring on Instagram, we also discussed discoloration and how he went about removing it. So make sure you stay tuned and listen to today's episode. Hey man, are you enjoying the episodes? If you are, be sure to like and subscribe, and be sure to leave a rating at whichever platform you are listening to this podcast at. All right, without any further ado, let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to another episode here at Masculine Health Solutions podcast. I got Daniel Gray from jelk2gain.com. I was about to say how to jelk, but no, it's jelk2gain.com. We're going to talk about the products, discoloration that I had a couple inquiries about, along with just the recent length gains that Daniel's made off of his own challenge. It's something that you guys could also reproduce and do as well. So make sure you pay attention today. Daniel, first off, how are you, man?
I'm great. Thanks for having me again.
It's a pleasure to have you here. And believe me, I was looking at the episodes too. I wasn't going to tell you, but I mean, this has been the best episode that I've seen ever perform on our podcast. So big plus. I mean, the knowledge you're bringing, a lot of guys are very, very receptive, and I'm happy to have you here again, man.
Excellent. Thank you.
So let's dive right in now. I just want to ask you about the product that you designed and how you designed it and why you designed it the way you did. You were explaining to me kind of off air about how you evened out the pressure, but I mean, from a non-engineer standpoint, just kind of give me the lowdown on how it works and why you designed it the way you did.
All right, so we're talking about the jelk2gain vacuum hanger, which goes on sale in the next couple of weeks. It's taken me quite a long time to develop it. In the first year of doing penis enlargement, I realised once I'd incorporated an all-day stretcher into my routine that I needed to start hanging from the literature I was reading from all the forums and the like. I decided that I'm going to have to put a hanging routine in, and if I wanted to continue with the same gains that was achieving. And I suppose I thought hanging is a bit like steroids to the gym. You know, yeah. you get to all these certain points in the gym, and you're like, right, I've got to my natural maximum. I'm going to start supplementing. I've started supplementing. Now I'm going to, if you want to go further, I'm going to have to start taking steroids, for example. And the same kind of exists in PE. It's you can build an analogy of PE against bodybuilding or going to the gym. So when I got to this certain point, I started hanging, and I designed this device, which was kind of like a suction device, and it worked really well. But you did need a foreskin for it, and I did notice that my foreskin started growing, the length of my foreskin, and I was like, well, that's not really what I wanted. I wanted the length gain, so I was getting both. But then in the new year, once I'd finished, I had this 2-week break, and I ended up getting a couple of blisters. And then I thought, well, what's the answer now? Do I want to keep using this? And I started using it again, and I built up, became reconditioned. And then I did get another blister. So I was like, right, maybe my foreskin's grown too much and it's just causing me issues, which is good for, the circumcised market. I could probably start selling that as a foreskin restoration device because it did work really well for that. But then I turned to compression hanging, and I didn't get along with compression hanging whatsoever. I even designed my own device, prototype for compression hanging. I bought a male hanger. I don't know if you've heard of them, male hanger. I bought one of those. I think it was something like $75, something like that. And it didn't make sense to me that you would try and crush your penis that much. I used wraps as well. I actually used my ADS sleeve, which is always a comfortable bottom layer, skin layer. And then I used a washcloth around that, and then clamped it. and it puts so much compression hanging puts so much pressure on your glands. It's untrue.
Yeah.
I was like, this is no good. This is no good. So then thought, well, what can I do to do it safely, prevent blisters, and stop me having to take 2 weeks out every time I got a blister. So I went to the drawing board. I got a few ideas off this Belgian customer that I've got. He used to be in the group chat. He gave me some really good ideas, and then that was it. I just got to the drawing board, started making these designs. Because I'm an engineer at work, so I know the right people. I know people that I can just get in touch with and help me to develop the product. And funnily enough, they all know what it's about as well. As everyone I know, I'm really open with it. So I don't see it as a taboo subject. It is what it is, and I'm happy to do it. And and everyone around me kind of accepts that now. There's no taboo with it at all with me, and people find it a really interesting talking point, actually. So anyway, I designed this product, and it's like a 316L stainless steel medical grade pharmaceutical grade metal, and it's like a vacuum chamber with a non-return valve on, and it comes with a vacuum pump. And into this chamber, you wear a silicone condom, which protects the full shaft. Pull your foreskin back if you're circumcised or uncircumcised. It doesn't matter. It works for both. Put the condom on, which again is a skin-safe platinum silicone rubber. So the best platinum silicone rubber money can buy. And it's perfect. It's quite, well, it's not quite strong. It's really strong. But it's reasonably flexible, but not too flexible for it to become unusable or pointless. So once you've got this condom on, you then place it into the vacuum chamber, get the vacuum pump it in, and then roll an external sleeve over everything to make everything airtight. And then I usually reduce, so when I first put my penis in the condom inside the vacuum chamber, I'll pump to 11 Hg. And then once I know that I'm fully inserted, then roll over the outer sleeve, get it airtight, and then reduce the pressure to 7.5 Hg. And then at that point, I'm ready to hang. And I've built up, I think I started at £3. I'm now at £8. I've even started adding a bit of a swing into my routine. I recently posted that on Twitter, and I get no issues from it whatsoever. And that was the idea. The worst thing in penis enlargement, when you start your journey, if you get any setbacks are something that can just put you off, just stop you totally. And you don't want that. You want to be able to use devices where you're going to be able to keep going. The only thing that's going to stop you is you, not a physical injury. And that's where it's really well. Inside the vacuum chamber, there's a bit more to it. So there's like a cap with holes drilled into it, which kind of spreads the vacuum out. So you're not just sucking into one point, you're sucking through multiple points, which is also through a sponge, 10mm sponge inside, which gives a really good spread. So you're getting an equal vacuum around the glands rather than just to one point, because once that one point's filled, say the condom catches it, the silicone condom catches it, well, that's it. You're not going to suck. And if there's any air outside of that area, then you're not going to get a true vacuum. And it's important that you get a full vacuum on the glands, and everything pushes up. So when you do your vacuum, everything forces out and against the side walls and against the top of the vacuum chamber. So it's like a fully sealed system. So imagine you're in a penis pump. When you're pumping and your penis expands to the walls, so say you need to move on to the next size, or say if you're trying to get length out of a penis pump, you'll maybe get a penis pump with a smaller diameter. So you do girth out is the term. So when you're girthing out, that's essentially what's happening in the hanger. You don't want to be increasing your girth. Hanging is predominantly the length. You will get base gains off hanging, but predominantly looking for length. So you go into it flaccid, you expand out, so you're hitting the walls, hitting the end of the cup, the sponge. In this case, everything's nice and tight, no chance of blisters at that point. The skin is pushed against something. So the way a blister works is the layers of skin actually separating because of the pressure. And when those layers of skin separate, that's what forms a blister. So you want to make sure these layers of skin have got no chance of being able to separate. So you're putting pressure from both sides and then hanging the weight. That's how it's done, and that's how it works. And it's fantastic design, if I do say so myself. Well, I developed it for people serious about doing PE and serious about length gains. I don't want people to get injured. I don't want people to suffer what I've suffered, and that's for me, that's really important.
And that's probably one of the biggest keys as to why you've been successful too. It's kind of, I think anybody that's actually involved actively in hanging or PE, it's almost like you develop different ticks or different tricks to kind of get around, certain things that were in your way at one time. And you kind of, okay, how do I get past this? Right. And it's kind of the evolution of something, of anything really. You got to figure out, okay, what's my problem here? How do I solve that? Okay, I do that. And then now you have a finished product, whereas somebody else that's starting off is like, oh, I just went and got this crappy hanger and it sucks and it's giving me blisters, versus yours, which already comes like, hey, you don't have to go through that whole process. Just use it this way, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's and that's what I want. That's what my website's all about. It's about people getting the gains and at an affordable price, but the quality of the product is also there. The safety and quality, for me, that's key. Safety, quality, and as long as you start it. If you start your journey with my products, for example, you're guaranteed to make gains, and you can do it safely. That's key.
Well, it's kind of like you were talking about before, which is one thing that I think, honestly, I think the most crucial or the most important part of PE is able to do it comfortably and safely. Because if you can't do it in comfort, good luck. Like, there's no way that I think you can do anything in life for a long time without saying, like, you know what, this is too hard. I can't do it. It's totally uncomfortable. I'm in pain. I got blisters, like my skin hurts. I'm going to give up. Right. And if you're able to bypass all that, I think you're going to be successful and actually make gains in PE, and you'll come out with a, what's the word I'm looking for, with, just being successful and actually reaching the goals that you have. Right. So.
Yeah. And I'm always saying it. If you want to achieve something, and you need to achieve something by a routine over a long period of time, the easier you make that routine, the more chance you've got of success.
100%. Yeah.
So for example, if you're going to be applying your all-day stretcher, I always make sure I've got one, my personal all-day stretcher. I always make sure it's rolled up and it's ready to go. It's clean, it's ready to go. So when I'm ready to use it, I'm on it. It's there for me, and that's it. Throughout your day, if you make all these little steps to making your routine easy, it will be easy.
Yeah, it's
or supplements. If you put them in a place where you're going to take them, you'll take them, won't you? If you put them high up in the cupboard, you'll probably forget. If you put them on the kitchen worktop out on show, if the missus allows you to do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
if they're out on show, instantly you're going to see them and think, I need to do that. It's reminding, because everyone's life day to day is, most people have a really busy, hectic lifestyle. So when you're trying to employ a routine as well, you've got to make it as easy as possible. You've got to put those little markers around. You've got to put the groundwork in. You've got to set times every day where you're going to set things up, and it makes it a lot easier.
Well, I kind of believe in the whole out of sight, out of mind kind of thing, right? Where, if you can't see it, or you're like, oh man, I remember I bought strawberries, but they're kind of buried in the back of the fridge. You're like, oh man, I didn't eat these strawberries. Now they're bad, and I found them a week later. Whereas, if you position certain things in a certain way, you won't forget about them. There was a good book actually written about this. I think it was Atomic Habits, if I'm not mistaken, where his whole theory behind getting stuff done is it's about the small things and positioning, right? So it's like, hey, you want to read that book, then make sure you put that book right in your living room. He's like, everybody watches TV because the TV is the centerpiece of the living room. It's just sitting there, and everybody's like, okay, I just go turn on the remote control, I'm good to go. He's like, why don't you just leave your book on the couch or something? You'll read it if you're constantly, your brain's constantly picking up on the fact that it's there, right? And it's the same with PE. Like, even for me, when I come home from work, and believe me, I'm like, oh, there's times where I just don't want to. But if I have everything lined up and I'm like, okay, I'm here, I'm going to chill out for a bit, 45 minutes, I'll dedicate my time to it, right? And it's just the
Yeah.
consistency of getting it done. And then it doesn't really require discipline. It's like going to the gym. It just becomes kind of second nature at that point.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you speak about the gym. So over lockdown, we've had me and my girlfriend, we train together, and we've got weights in the garage. If you go to the gym and you travel to the gym, you're going to have a better workout than doing it in the
100%.
garage. Like for me, definitely, because you're in the zone, you're in the right place, you've got an atmosphere, and training at home is a lot harder.
Oh,
Training at the gym, you get in the car, you've traveled, you're there.
you're there.
That's what you've come to do.
Yeah.
There's too many distractions elsewhere. So it's making your routine as easy as possible to complete, and you'll stay disciplined.
Well, in regards to that too, let's talk about your gains that I recently saw on Twitter as well, because that was pretty monumental. That was after your 30-day challenge, or how far in
Um,
and how many days now?
I think I was 26 days in, but it was day 15 of the challenge. But I'd actually been hanging consistently for 26 days.
Wow.
Yeah, so 26. So I think I'm on day 24 of the challenge. So I've got another 6 days left, and I'm absolutely smashing that challenge. And it feels good. It feels good to stick to a routine and be as disciplined as I have been. And I think that's true for everyone. When you're disciplined, you stick to something. It's a great feeling that you get. Like, yeah, I've done it. You doubt yourself at first, then you do it, and yeah, it's been great. So when I get to the end of the 30 days, I'm looking at increasing the tempo even more. I'm in the zone now, and I feel like I'm in a good place. I'm hanging more weight. Like I say, I've added different routines in, tougher stretches, and I'm just going from strength to strength. So I don't really want to get off that train. I want to stay on it, because if I get off it, I know what will happen. I'll relax.
Yep.
And I don't want to do that. I'll keep going until I get to that 7.5-inch length that I'm looking for.
Not bone pressed, right?
Non-bone pressed, yep,
Yeah.
non-bone pressed.
And then the other question I had for your routine right now, I know you have one routine available on your website as well. But how are you doing it now with like reps and sets? Like, how are you dividing? You're still doing your jelking pre-workout or pre-hanging, and then afterwards, how long do you hang for?
Yeah, so my current routine that I've been carrying out over the last 24 days, so part of the challenge, was I've not been jelking at the moment, mainly because when I do jelk, I just seem to gain girth really easily,
Yeah.
which is the opposite of what I'm actually looking for. So my girth target was 6.5 inches. The last measurement I did, I was 6.6. So I've achieved that now, and I know that I can happily achieve that at any point. So it's all about the length gains. The routine that I've been doing is a warm up, then stretches. Stretches I've been doing are like a around the world basic stretch. So left down, right up, and straight out. Doing that twice. So going through that twice. But each set I've been doing 30 Kegels. So 30 to the left, 30 to the bottom, 30 to the right, 30 to the top, 30 out. Doing that, going through that twice. Then A stretches. I really enjoy doing A stretches. I think they're a fantastic exercise for length. Again, 30 Kegels with left hand, 30 Kegels with the right hand. So that's where you just pull the glands out, wrap around your wrist, and do 30 Kegels. The next one is V stretches. So I've actually made a bit of an adaptation to this. Instead of just pulling the glands out with the OK grip and pressing down with between your thumb and index finger, so like an inverted V, instead of just pushing down, been kind of doing like sweeping motion backwards and forwards, and that's giving a lot of stress to the suspensory ligament. It feels great. So it's a bit of a modification to the standard V stretch. And again, I do 20 sweeps, which include a Kegel each time. Change hands, do another 20. After that, I came up with this jelking exercise called the heli jelk. So it's basically where you it's like jelking straight out, but you're going in like a circular motion as you're doing it. So I've started doing, yeah, that's right. Heli stretches started doing. So you're not moving down the shaft. You just have the glands, and you just do. I do 30 revolutions, Kegling each revolution. So that left hand, right hand, and then JAI stretches, which I've only just started doing. I've never really been that interested in them. I always thought they look a bit harsh, but it's basically where you get your okay grip behind the glands, and you do like a sharp tug as you tug out. You do a Kegel, and then keep the penis stretched out, and do another Kegel. I've just been doing 20 of those on each hand. And that's and then that's the end of the routine. I tape up, apply the Geltgain back hanger, and I wear that for an hour, £8. But I'm ready to move up in the weight now.
Yeah, it's time to go past. It's like when you get to that bench press, and you're like, I'm doing this too many sets. It's too easy.
Yeah, that's right. So I'll move up to £9, and then but the key is, I'm saying that I'll move from 8 to 9, and that doesn't sound like a great jump. But believe me, it's about taking it steady and working your way up slowly. There's no winners, but you can quite easily become a loser when you get an injury. So it's just about keeping conditioning your glands and getting them used to it.
Well, especially not jumping the gun like we talked about before too, or too many guys. I know, like I've always said for myself, I get overzealous and I get excited, right? So, but I believe now it's kind of the one thing that I could change if I go back into my early years of PE, where it's almost just reach for that low-hanging fruit and milk it for as long as possible, right? And I think it's probably the best way to go about it, where you do like 1 pound increments, instead of jumping the gun. And some guys I've seen go from like 5 to 8 to 9 to injury, so it's.
Yeah, I can't reiterate it enough. You've really got to take your time with it. It's tortoise and hare. And you've got to be the tortoise, unfortunately. And I know that's something that nobody really wants to hear. But if you're serious about it and you don't want to get injured, you want to do it safely, you'll always win the race doing it that way.
Yeah. Well, my whole philosophy is PE is a marathon, man. It's totally not a sprint. It's something that is a little bit, I wouldn't say time consuming, but you have to spend the appropriate amount of time on the proper exercise, make sure you're conditioned, and you really got to focus on building a foundation. It's like anything else, right? Like, it's like you can't go to the gym and be like, I'm going to squat 400 pounds today. I'm like, well, good luck. You're going to die and your knees are going to just explode. And I've seen it before where, I'll see a kid walk into the gym and he's like, he gets cocky, and next thing you know, he's doing front squats and his back is hunched over. Because I'm a trainer as well, and I'm like, oh, hold the phone, man. Let's look at your form first. Okay, how are you standing? Why are you hunching your back over like that? Like, let's work on the initial mechanics. And what is that? It's just the basics, right? And the basics always come down to the foundational movements that will actually help you to progress in the future. And one thing you mentioned was Kegels, which a lot of guys negate. And I think Kegels are extremely important, obviously not overdone like myself, or I actually gave myself premature ejaculation from doing them too much.
Oh,
yeah. I was doing it excessively where I'm like, I'm doing this for an hour a day. They're awesome. And sure, it's like, yeah, it was rock hard. And it was also like, there was no control. So I had to step back and learn to gauge it. And again, it just comes down to building that foundation. And now when I incorporate them in my exercise, I can feel a notable difference, but it's not fatigue to the point where I can't control myself anymore, right? And I 100% agree with you, man. Like, you have to take it slow and you have to build on the foundations and the foundation anyways.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, let's talk about the other thing that I got some inquiries about too, was discoloration. And we kind of touched on it before, but let's just kind of go through the process that you did. I know you're talking about doing a full video on that, full tutorial. And it's obviously something where we do want to make sure everybody listening, proceed with caution. Maybe don't do it just yet until Daniel puts the video up with a, full explanation. But let's dive into how you did it, how you got rid of your discoloration, and just the process of it.
Okay, so I mentioned before I tried a lot of things. And my girlfriend was in full support of it. I had my reasons for wanting to get rid of the discoloration, and I think I mentioned before we started about using glycolic acid. I thought I'll try using a glycolic acid. That never made any difference. It didn't work. And the next level was to go to a TCA acid peel. I did a 30% TCA acid peel, and within a week it started to peel, and literally it was that top layer of skin that was dark. It was the iron deposits underneath. I couldn't believe it. It was like fresh newborn skin. So it's like all these issues that you have. It's like, well, you know what? If you do overdo it, well, you can just do an acid peel and it gets rid of it. So you solve it instantly instead of using all these creams, lotions, potions, exercises, all this time wasted. You can do a TCA acid peel and it works. 2 weeks, and you're done. You're back to square one as far as colour is concerned. And like even now, I have started to see a bit of discoloration come back. But obviously, I'm still exercising, and it's a bit like the gym. You go to the gym. I don't use gloves because I prefer my hands to become hardened rather than too soft. Which I think if you're wearing gloves all the time, your hands are always soft. So we will get calluses. You do get calluses, and unfortunately, you are going to, if any kind of training, there's going to be side effects. And one of the side effects is discoloration. The main discoloration you will get is from pumping, definitely from pumping. So the fact is, if you do get discoloration, don't get too disheartened, because there's an easy fix, and you can fix it within. It's a quick application, and you can be fixed within 2 weeks. But there is a but. You've got to be extremely cautious when you do it. So TCA acid peel, women use it on maybe not just women, but from what I've seen, women using it on the faces and stripping the top layer of skin off the faces. Now, usually it's like somebody who's a professional in that field. I wasn't able to buy TCA acid anywhere in the UK. I had to go to Etsy. I don't know if you know Etsy, but
oh yeah.
I had to use Etsy, and there was a guy on there. He had good reviews. He actually made his own. It was I think it was a chemical engineer. Made his own, and there was pictures on there before and afters of people's women, their skin actually peeling, and it looks really good. So I thought, right, I'll give it a shot. I went through all the safety precautions before I did it. It's really important that you've got a neutralizing agent. So I used baking soda, and make sure your baking soda's in date just by putting a bit of vinegar on it. Otherwise, it needs to fizz, basically. If it doesn't fizz, then it's not going to work. Put acid on, and you can't neutralize it, you're in trouble. So there are a few safety precautions to take. I also used a glands cap, so I covered the glands over. Yeah. I made sure that I did it with my girlfriend, actually. Made sure that she was with fantastic help. I wouldn't have been able to do it without her, to be honest. So with glands cap on, OK grip. I wore gloves. My partner wore gloves. Pull the penis out from the OK grip, and just dab on, like sparingly, really sparingly, all the affected areas. And then what will happen? You start to get quite a bad stinging sensation, actually. And I left it on for about 2 minutes, and after 2 minutes, got the washcloth in the I think it's warm water and baking soda, wiped it all off, neutralized it, and that was it. And then over the next week, you don't see much happen for about 4 days, and then after 4 days, it starts peeling off. So again, just big strips of dark skin come off, and then by 2 weeks, it's done.
So it's kind of like that picture that you have up on Twitter of the peeling. That was about like a week or two after.
Yeah, that's right. That was maybe 6, 7 days.
Okay. So I thought it was immediate where it just kind of like crusted up and then all of a sudden you just take it off. But I guess you got to give it time. Does it just happen randomly or you can kind of feel it start drying up?
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. It
Okay.
dries, and it just starts to peel off. And I was absolutely made up when that happened. It felt like I was back to me.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are side effects, and but there is a way to fix it,
Yeah.
which is the good thing, and that is the quickest and best way to do it. But you've got to be safe.
Well,
And
it's
I'm happy. Go on.
yeah, no, it's definitely because I mean, it's like we were talking about last time with the fire goat rolls and all that other stuff. And what is it called? That witch's hazel too. I tried that one, and then the arnica oil, all
Yeah,
that jazz. Like it didn't do anything, right? So I was kind of like, you know what, I'll just leave it as is for now. And it's like you said, you found this digging through the forums where somebody mentioned it, and it wasn't until I saw your Twitter, I'm like, wait a minute, I've never seen that method before, and that looks like it works, you know.
yeah,
And that's kind of what a lot of guys are looking for too, because I think a lot of the stuff that kind of are on the forums, a lot of it's speculative, but seeing something that actually works right there firsthand and it's on Twitter, like I was blown away myself. And for my guys listening, pay attention. And hopefully we'll have that video tutorial up soon, man.
yeah, definitely. Like I say, I videoed the full thing, so I just need to do some edits and get it on. Fingers crossed, I'll have it on by the end of May.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, because that whole process, it's one of those things that's going to come up in PE regardless. Like I've seen it from guys that use the bathmate, the Panamate, like even for myself, can I use an air pump, right? And I kind of like I know the discoloration started happening probably 3, 4 months into myself using it as well, right? And no other exercise did it. And obviously there's guys that clamp too that I've seen bad discoloration from, but I agree with you 100%. I'm pretty sure it's mostly guys that pump and clamping, the girth exercises, I guess.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So, but I'm happy for anyone to DM me or get in touch with me on Instagram, Twitter. It's I'll always respond and help people out as much as I can. But I suppose once it's up on the website, it's there for all to see. Unfortunately, I can't put it on YouTube. So yeah, you have to have to go to my website to see it.
But no, it's kind of one of those things that we got to be careful too with this subject. Like Pinterest blocked me, you know, and I
Right?
know Twitter was giving you a hard time as well, and even with YouTube, where I saw Total Man Shop got taken down, and I was really shocked by that because it was growing so much. But that's one of the things that we talked about as well. It's just the taboo regarding the stuff. I don't know why it exists. It's just a part of your body that you're working on. But as soon as that stigma is gone, it's like, hey, it's really not a big deal. It's just like training any other part of the body.
Yeah, and it's down to people like yourself, down to people like me to remove that stigma. I am loud and proud about jelqing, about penis enlargement. I think all men should do it. I think men should feel sexually confident within themselves and feel sexually confident in the bedroom, with the partners. That's what it's all about. It's about that, it's nice to go to the gym and look good, and it's nice to feel good when you're having sex as well, and know that you're doing the best you can do, and being the best you can be in the bedroom. I think that's a really important part of life.
100%. You want to make sure you're putting your best cock forward. You want to make sure you're giving it your all, and I kind of feel like for a lot of guys that suffer from ED or just confidence issues in general, it totally helps them out. I've seen a lot of guys tell me all the time, like, "Hey, man, I made half an inch of gains, and this guy's over through the roof."
Yeah,
And like, why is it wrong for a man to feel that way if he's been successful doing PE and we have this taboo and it's like, oh no, you should just be happy with what you have. I'm like, well, me myself, I tend to put on fat quite easily. I'm kind of a meso endo. So,
yeah.
if somebody just told me just love yourself the way you are, I'm like, no, I'd rather go to the gym and work on myself so I can get ripped. Like it's the same principle. I don't know why. It's almost like they're trying to tell you to think a certain way, but I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to most men either.
No, no. I mean, if you've got the attitude where you want to um, excel in as many aspects of your life as possible, and I think, yeah, if that's what you want to do, then then you should do it. You shouldn't let anything hold you back or anyone be negative towards that. You should do what you want to do. If you want to go to the gym and get ripped, go to the gym and get ripped. If you want a bigger penis, do penis enlargement exercises. If you want to excel at your job, do the right training courses and excel at your job.
Exactly.
You should do whatever you want to do, whatever makes you feel good. You should do it.
100% agree with that. And Daniel, where can we find you at?
Jelk2gain.com.
And on Twitter, Jelk2gain as well, guys. That's Jelk and the number 2 gain. All right. So that's Twitter and Instagram. Granted, Daniel's a lot more active on Twitter. And you could definitely check out his gains there. But anything else to say today, Daniel?
No, thanks for having me. And yeah, we'll speak soon.
All right. Well, that's a wrap, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And that concludes today's episode. Again, if you want to learn more about how Daniel designed this program, or if you want to get into his classes, be sure to check out jelk2gain.com for all kinds of good stuff there. Be sure to look him up on Twitter at Jelk2gain as well. Also, if you guys got any inquiries from me or want to learn more, be sure to hit me up on Instagram. That's generally where I tend to get the most messages. Or just come to masculinehealthsolutions.com and just continue to learn from there, guys. And I'll be sure to answer all the questions you guys have. All right. Talk to you later.